Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Working on the Dad Pod. I am Ethan, as always, and this is my co-host Alex. Let's get to work. Alex, how you doing this week?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. I don't have snappy goings on this week. It's been a much more normal week than last time we recorded. So
Good, good. Your snappiness has been a little annoying. I'm not going to lie. So that's clearly your L. But let's get into wins and losses. What do you? Let's start with you, man. With the wins, what you got?
so my wins. So my daughter is still up on Cape Cod with my in-laws, and
Mhm.
my win for this week is she has once again. I know I kind of go to this well a lot, but it's a source of pride for me because she's just in this phase of getting over her fears.
Mm-hmm.
My in-laws have a boat up on
Mm-hmm.
Cape Cod. Not the boat you've ridden on, but they have a boat up on Cape Cod. It's a small motorized fishing boat, right?
Fun, fun.
Nothing fancy, but my father-in-law and his cousin take it out to go fishing. Duh, a
Cool.
lot. And my daughter has never been on the boat because she's scared
Mm-hmm.
and because she always put up a fuss about the life jacket, right? Life jacket
Uh,
mandatory, of course. And
yeah,
I think in previous years, part of the problem is like any life jacket you got for her kid size, it's just like up under her ears, right?
it's
And so,
uncomfortable.
yeah. And so she didn't like it. She would fuss. She would do all that stuff. Well, I got sent a picture of her in the life jacket, ready to go,
Nice.
and then confirmation that she actually went on the boat. And then
Awesome.
she did it again when she went kayaking with my mother-in-law. She wore a life jacket
Ooh.
again, and so she conquered her fears on both of those. And so I am super proud of her for being able to get over that and then have a lot of fun because I got the chance to ask her. We've been FaceTiming her every single morning, and I've gotten the chance to ask her, like, did you have a great time? And she's just so excited. She's like, I want to go back out. I want to, do all this stuff. So I'm like, I'm pretty happy because being in Florida, we have some boating opportunities available to us through
Yeah.
friends' boats. My in laws no longer have a boat down here, but we have friends with boats and other things like that. And a
Friends
hiccup
with
has always
boats.
been ever since my daughter was not a baby and
Mhm.
able to be held in our arms for the entirety of the ride, we couldn't really go because she was not committed to wearing a life jacket and we weren't sure that she would. So,
Well, that's cool. I actually also have a water-based win, but before I get into that, in my previous life, Alex mentioned that his in-laws had a separate boat, the one that was
yes.
down in Florida.
Yeah.
Um, there is a very sexy picture of me driving said boat that I used as a thirst trap on the dating apps back in the day. So,
Nice.
if you ever are curious what the E-Man looked like 10 years ago before he settled down and put on a few, check that
Sun's
out.
out, guns out.
It's very sunny out, lots of sunscreen, guns came blazing.
Yeah.
But yes, I mentioned I had a water win as well. Um, this last Sunday, today is a Wednesday for reference. Nope, Saturday. We went to a friend's birthday party, and they happened to have a pool. And for the last like year and a half, my older daughter just like kind of stopped like submersing herself in water. Where like the first time we went to the beach, she was like totally into it. First time we went to the pool, like and this is like closer to age 2, she was totally into it, like liked being held by me. But then just like it kind of stopped to the point where even at like preschool and these summer water days, she wasn't like getting wet. The teacher would be like, she just like didn't want to get wet, and we'd just be like, okay, we don't know what to do. So this Sunday or Saturday, we're at this party, and she sees me with her little sister who is 10 and a half months old, like just in the water. And
Yeah.
we had been there like 2 hours. We were just getting ready to go. And she was like, no, I want to go in the water with Dada. And I was like, okay, let's do it. And she did and did not want to get out, won't stop talking about going back to their pool.
Nice.
And today they had water day at preschool, and she got soaked. Her words, not
Love it.
mine. So we've both had water-based wins, which is pretty cool. Definitely makes it a lot more fun to go to a pool when
Yeah,
the girls are interested in going in, because then one of us is not like, hanging out in the hot sun while the other one is
sure,
like enjoying time. So
sure.
so we're really happy about that. On the loss front, my same kid, um, the older one, um, uh, she just when we last in our last episode, you probably remember I mentioned that she has had strep throat and walking pneumonia at the same
Mm,
time.
yeah.
Um, we have been, when using the nebulizer and putting the mask on, we've let her watch half an episode or one story of Daniel Tiger. As I
Okay.
mentioned,
Yeah.
Daniel Tiger, usually like 10 to 15-minute episodes.
Right.
That's usually the full amount of time it takes the all of the liquid in the nebulizer to
To
evaporate,
nebulize her.
to nebulize. And
Yeah.
then she wanted to finish the rest of the episode, and we were like, no, it's time for bed. We told you you got one story for during the nebulizer. She ran up to the TV and she hit the TV with both hands.
Ooh,
And
jeez.
I was floored because if she broke a TV, like,
Sure.
one, I'd be really scared of her strength and probably would not want to be anywhere near her because that's very strong.
Sure.
But two,
Sure.
I didn't want to buy a new TV, despite the fact that this
Sure.
TV is really old, And
Yeah.
I'm proud of this TV. This TV's made it to old age. I'm not kicking it to the curb. I bought
Yep.
that TV in 2014, and you know
Okay.
what? It's a good TV.
Still
Um,
works.
yeah, still does its thing. And yeah, no, so she was not allowed to watch TV at all the next day. And yeah, no, but man, I was really mad. So that was my L this week. What about you?
Yeah. Well, first I want to say on the swimming thing, my daughter has actually gotten into putting her head under the water. Another
Nice.
fear that she had been having, where she would basically tell everybody there was a rule. I don't put my head under the water. I just don't do it. She'd
Of
get in the
course.
pool.
Sure.
It's too hot around here not to, but
Mm.
she wouldn't put her head under the water. And she's been going to a pond near my in-laws place, and it's one of those things where she can walk 30, 40 feet out and the water would only be up to her chest. And so she
Hmm.
got some goggles and started exploring the sand um, underneath the water. So I was pretty proud of her. So yeah, it's a big moment when they get over that stuff of just like, I would love to be able to go to the pool in the middle of the summer because it's hot, and I would love to not have to carry you around because you don't want to do anything but be a bump on a log, because I have a literal bump on a log and your younger sibling
Right.
that I have to carry around. So it kind of makes it a two-person job. But my loss for this week is not something that either of my kids did, but um, every couple nights a week, I've mentioned Redio in the past as the video chatting book reading platform. And a couple nights a week, I'm scheduled to read bedtime stories to my daughter while she's with my in laws.
Hmm.
And twice now, I have completely forgotten.
Ooh.
Like, luckily, as is the case, the people that generally read to her are my mother-in-law or my dad. And generally the case, hop on there, 7:45 is the allotted time. After about 5 minutes, usually text the person that's supposed to be on there reading. And so I luckily both times got a text from my mother-in-law. So it wasn't like I missed it. It was just
Hmm. You
I
were late.
completely spaced and had to like run over to my computer and set it up and be like, oh, sorry. Like the first time I legitimately was late. Like I wasn't in a hurry, but my son
Hmm.
was being really fussy, and my wife was trying to finish up something before she put him to bed because he still nurses to sleep, and so she's got to do that. And so I didn't even think about, oh, I need to go read to our daughter. So I did have more of a legitimate excuse. The second time, I was just washing dishes and got a text, and it was like, "We're on radio," and I'm like, "Oh,
Uh
whoops."
oh.
So
Yeah.
what about? So yeah, that was my loss for the week.
Yeah. Well, sounds like it didn't cause much permanent damage. But they
No,
say
it's fine.
uh, Third time's a charm, though. So, you know.
Yeah, I got to do it tomorrow night. So
All right.
I've set a calendar reminder.
Oh, good. Smart.
Yeah.
Well, that's good.
Hey, dads. Are you tired of the same evening routine? Dinner, maybe some playtime with toys that get left everywhere, brushing teeth, and then bed? Next time, pull out a Wongo puzzle and do something different that you and the kids will enjoy together. Wongo is the perfect balance of a good challenge without being so hard that you stop talking to each other and leave your family forever. Trust me, once you try Wongo, you'll never go back to a boring old jigsaw puzzle. They're 100% wooden puzzles. They'll last forever. Each piece is hand drawn, so no two pieces are the same, and you'll discover some fun whimsy pieces as you work through it. They come in a custom wooden box, which is perfect for storage and gifting. With stunning designs and unique shapes, Wongo puzzles are a cut above the rest. I'm partial to the animal designs like the sea tortoise and the elephant because my kids get excited about them even more. It was great to pull out a puzzle and be done in a night and not have it on the table for a week. Forget about it. Maybe get fruit pieces all over it or something like that. So, what are you waiting for? Go to wongopuzzles.com, pick your puzzle today, and be sure to use the promo code WOTDP to get 10% off your order. This is the most fun you've had with a puzzle guaranteed, or your money back. Go to WONGO puzzles.com and use the code WOTDP to get 10% off your order and get puzzling right now.
Should we get into the meat?
The meat, get
I didn't
into
like
the
how that
stuff.
sounded.
Get
Yeah,
into the
let's do it.
Yeah,
Wow, stop talking, Ethan. This is a podcast. Be better at yourself.
yeah, that's what the
I don't
explicit
even know
tag.
what that means. Anyway,
Yeah.
all right. So tonight's topic is kids stuff, and you know
Mm.
what? That is pretty broad, but we'll define it for you. So it's a lot of it's a little bit more than just like stuff. It's presents. It's their area in the home. It is
Mhm.
how do you deal with their space versus our space. So
Yeah.
I'll kick this off with just like a general rule or a philosophy that my wife and I um, didn't even coordinate when we both just like admitted that it was what we wanted. Um, Never gift another parent's kid a toy that makes noise, whether it be a song, whether it be an alarm. If you do that, you are an a-hole. You know why? Because as fun as it is, you are giving somebody else an annoying headache. And then you put them in the position to take it away from their own kid. So, our Alpern House philosophy: no noise making toys. In or out? What are your thoughts on that?
I 100% agree. Like, I was rubbing my eyes not because I disagreed with you, but because I was having PTSD.
Good.
My brother-in-law, my wife's oldest brother, he exclusively gives us noise-making toys. My daughter has a Minnie Mouse ukulele. My son has an electric drum set. There's been a keyboard with a microphone, like a piano keyboard with a microphone. Everything, like books that make noise to teach them about animals and stuff. So birthdays, Christmas, that's really the only time they give us gifts.
Damn it,
Everything
too.
has a battery, and I just kind of want to retaliate.
Oh yeah, no. The
Kind
war
of want
is
to
on.
retaliate, but I we've reserved that, a lot more. But yes, we don't do that because we hate receiving them. I will also say this to all the new parents especially of younger kids:
Mm-hmm.
if you have a toy and you get a toy that makes noise, almost certainly it will require batteries.
Never
One
put
thing
them
you can
in.
do, one thing you can do though is you can leave the batteries out for a while until the kid seems bored with the toy. And I don't mean like that day, I mean a few months down the road.
Sure,
Then you
sure.
can put the batteries in, and it's like they got a whole new toy.
Mm. I guess
So
that's true.
you can upgrade their toy by putting the
Mm,
batteries in. That doesn't really work for a keyboard, and
sure,
it doesn't
sure.
really work especially well for gifts that like you receive
Yeah.
from family all the time, especially if they sort of understand. Our moms do a pretty good job of not doing a lot of battery powered gifts,
Hmm.
unless we've coordinated it with them and it's something special. I don't have any
Yeah.
examples right now. But
Well,
because they do so much of the childcare, I think they get
mhm.
it, right? They're
Yeah.
around kids
Oh, of
enough to
course.
understand they can make noise with Legos.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
don't give them more ammunition.
Yeah. So my mother in law is one of those like gift givers for kids who will like she'll give a gift and then the next time she talks to and or sees one of the girls, she'll be like, "Do you like this thing I got you?" And if it happens to be something that makes noise, like it's just so annoying because she'll just keep bringing it up and then the kid will want to play with it if they've like forgotten it, and it's like now I have to hear that terrible noise over and over again. And
Yeah.
part of the reason why Alex and I unplanned co-ranted on noisy gifts, is because it also means that their space that the kid is occupying in your home that they don't pay rent for, that you pay rent for, but you have to give them space because it's the right thing to do, expands because the
Hmm.
noise penetrates your
Sure.
space.
Sure, and
And
it disrupts everything because even if my
yeah,
son is playing with that drum set, or more likely, my daughter is playing with his drum set and yelling
sure.
at him to get away from the drum set that is
Mm-hmm.
his, and we've
Mm-hmm.
explained this that it was a gift to him, so he gets
Right.
first dibs, even if he can't make a beat to save his life. Not only is the noise happening, the arguing's happening, and I'm trying to do something while they're distracted. I'm like, listen, the noise making toys, in some sense, have their place, right? You can put them a little bit in front of it and go empty the dishwasher or something,
Mm-hmm.
and you
Right.
can know when the noise stops. It's like an
Sure.
alarm got quiet, too quiet, kind of thing.
Right. Right.
But it's also just if you're trying to, let's say, there have been times where the kids are home sick or something, and they're doing that, and you're trying to write an email, and you can't even finish your sentence because, and I know you do this a lot where you're working from home, your daughter is sick,
Mm-hmm.
and it makes it so hard to focus on anything you're trying to do, whether that's work
Yeah.
related or whether that's just like, I want to listen to a podcast, but I can't hear it through my own headphones. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
So I guess I'll pose a question to you, man. What is how do you maintain control of this now unfairly shared space that we have allowed these kids to have?
my wife is very big into storage bins and she likes
Mm-hmm.
thinking about attractive storage options. So the kids have their room,
Mm-hmm.
and then we have a couple of toy boxes that are out in the living room. And
Mm-hmm.
we're out of the age that my son would do anything like a jumperoo, right? And so we don't have, there's no baby swings or, the flying saucers, jumperoo kind of things in our floor anymore. They're all contained in baskets or boxes. We have, I guess, three baskets underneath our entertainment center in our living room, and one is like nothing but big mega blocks. Another, and I think it's also got a bunch of wooden blocks that my dad actually handmade that are really cool. And then we've got like a toy chest that just sort of is kind of like a catch-all for a bunch of like little toys, a lot of stuff that my daughter has like gotten when she's gone to the county fair, stuff like
Mm-hmm.
that. And then in their room, we have these organizational bins on a shelf. And each bin is sort of like a category of toys. Like my daughter has a bin that is nothing but her hair styling things. So she might have
Mm-hmm.
an Elsa doll and a pony and a dog that all have their little plastic hairbrushes and uh, hair bows and all that stuff, and that's in a bin. And then like dress up stuff's in another bin, and magna tiles are in another bin. And so that sort of keeps it, because we've got everything sort of categorized and not just
Mhm.
in one big space. It helps it, and we make sure that for my daughter, and my son's actually gotten pretty good at this. When we tell him, hey man, it's time to clean up, he'll start bringing stuff over. He's not so great about the organization, but he'll put it away with less fight than the 4 year old. But
Right.
we make him clean up every night before bed. And that has helped us sort of control the space. But I'll be honest, the biggest thing that we do from time to time, and we're doing it right now because my daughter, as I mentioned,
Mhm.
is not here and cannot fight. And I also mentioned on our last episode that we're completely redoing their room. And so all of their crap is in my living room right now, like all of it,
Mhm.
dresser, bed frame, all their toys. And it's slowly filtering its way back in. We had to paint the walls. We had to get a new rug down. We had to build some furniture to go in the closet. We're going to have to build their bunk beds eventually, but
Mhm.
like hang cabinets and stuff. And my wife has actually thought about all this organization. But what we're doing is we're culling the toys. As we pulled everything out, we're like, we're going to go through this and we're going to either say this is broken and trash or this hasn't gotten played with and we're going to donate it. And if we don't tell my daughter about it, she will forget about it, right? The thing you were talking about with your
Sure.
mother in law, where unless it gets
Mhm.
brought up, they're going to forget
Right.
about it. Where there's going to be keepsake things that we definitely keep that maybe they don't play with, but we're just going to like thin the herd.
That's nice, man. I love that idea. Um so one thing I do want to say is we were talking to we had the girls had a play date with they each have there's a family with kids in the same grades, and we're
Yeah,
close with the parents, and
nice.
they said that they have a rule, or well, the dad has a rule. The mom doesn't always follow it, but for them and their own sanity, he's like, I never clean the house until nighttime when the girls are asleep, because or when the kids are asleep, because I'm just gonna have to do it again. And
Yeah,
just I said, you know what, I'm going to adopt that, because I too have found myself being like, oh, I just organized this, and then the kid comes back down, plays again, and it's like, oh man, it's like never ending. But if in my mind, just knowing that like there's no point in cleaning it until the day is done, that actually takes some of the like emotional labor and onus of responsibility just kind of like out of my head, and it's one less thing to stress about. So I definitely have adopted that rule. um, I don't know
I
like where my wife and I went wrong, but um, our oldest, she rarely ever like hangs out in her room. We have a whole toy chest with books and toys in her room, but it's just I think it's because so we live in a 3-story townhouse, and the bedrooms are all the top floor, but like the
yeah,
main area we all hang out is that second floor where she hit the TV. We sit on the couch. That's where her trampoline is, the infamous trampoline that caused the bad word episode, and
sure.
then there's like nice cloth looking toy bins there too. That's where the play kitchen is. So granted, like the main playroom is like the main family room, and there is a clear dividing line of where was supposed to be their side and our side. Their
Yeah,
side is now the whole area, and then there's like the safe space on the couch, which is like the lava. But no, they sit on the couch with us. I don't even know why I said that. That's so dumb. Anyway, the point is like we definitely have let them uh, take over our space, and it ends
sure.
up being our responsibility to clean it, because sometimes just like the screaming and um, the like it's getting so late, like she's already gone back to the dinner table a couple times because we're not as good at that like hard 7:35 rule.
Yeah.
It just
Here's
yeah,
what I would
anyway, you
I would
cut me off. You go.
here's what I would say is that it's not just that we have the hard 735 rule. We do these things not to emulate a drill sergeant or anything
Sure.
like that.
I
It's just
I
it.
hope the listeners didn't think that's what I implied.
No, no, I didn't get that implication, but I do want people to know that it's not just us trying to be super regimented, but that regimen, we have some give, we have some take, but it's pretty consistent. And by doing it every single night, it builds the habit, it builds the
Hmm.
expectations with the kids. And it's not without fights. But
Yeah.
here's the fact of the matter. There are, so we have done a couple of things with that cleanup because I would strongly encourage you. I get the notion. I don't clean the dinner table until the kids are asleep, right? Like I might get our dishes
Hmm.
off, I might get their dinner plates off, I'll do all that stuff. But I mean, like wiping it down, getting all the
Hmm.
food crumbs and all those
Same.
things, the floors, all that stuff, I don't do. The vacuuming, all that kind of stuff, we wait until the kids have gone to bed. But with their stuff and their toys, the 735 is not just like we're just hustling them and hustling them and hustling them until 7:35. With my daughter specifically, and my son will be coming along soon because again, he's starting to understand this. We tell my daughter, we used to do a thing where we would say, if you don't have it picked up, I'm going to come by with a grocery bag and I'm going to put it all in the grocery bag and I'm keeping it for a week. You don't get that toy for a week. And it could be something that she's not going to play with for a week anyway. But to
Sure.
her, that is do or die. Okay,
Hmm.
that's going to light the fire. And eventually we got
Yeah.
to the point because we have a relatively small house and correct that. We have a really small house. It's like 1,000 square feet. But we're just like, we're not going to do the bag thing anymore. We're just going to throw it away. And here's the thing. We have friends who say the same thing to their kid. We've never had
Hmm.
to use it. They've never had to use it. The difference is I am, and our friend has said this, that she's like, of course I'm not going to throw their stuff away. I am going to throw my kids' stuff away if it is not picked up, and I do not care because I don't need it in my house. I don't really want it in my house that much. And I tell them that it's not just picking it up, it's showing me that you care about this. You care about
Yeah.
this, it's going to make you sad, it's going to make you cry. Show me. Show me that you care about it by putting it back where it goes. They're like, well, why does it need to go back where it goes? Because that way our 90-pound dog doesn't step on it. I don't step on it. Your little brother doesn't break it because obviously I'm having these conversations with my 4 year old,
Sure.
making sure it doesn't get lost, kicked under the couch, something like that. Show me you respect it. And so it's a little bit of tough love, but I am dead serious that I will throw her toys away. Now, the one exception I have made now is like we do have, as I mentioned, things that are his and hers. I am not following the same strategy. One, if he pulls out all the mega blocks, for example, and dumps
Mhm.
them all over the living room, I'm cleaning those up. I'm not making
Yeah.
my daughter do that.
Sure.
Unfortunately, it takes monitoring to know who's doing what. But I ask her honestly, hey, did you play with this stuff? And she's pretty good about being honest with me about doing it. And my wife is also floating around the house just like I am. And she'll correct her if she's lying or forgetting,
Hmm.
whatever. But yeah, I am just very much, there are a few toys that are maybe they were mine or my wife's when we were kids. But past that, I'm like, yeah, I will throw this knockoff Barbie in the trash. So help me, I don't care. Because
Yeah.
like I would much rather, and again, I've never actually had to use this. So don't think I'm just throwing away my kids' stuff because they're not following rules. I've never had to use it. But if I did, I would want her to know that I was serious about saying it. So maybe that's extreme for some people, and that's totally
Uh,
fine. But I would say whether you do that or whether you say this is going away for a week, which I think is probably on the more humane side of it, because it creates some sort of consequence, or even 24 hours. Like you
mhm.
could say 24 hours, and really for them, because they're in daycare all day, that's like really only 2 hours of potential
Right.
playtime that they're losing with this toy. But I think it
And
does create that sense of ownership of you showing me that you care about your toys, and it lightens the load because as much as I don't like having to sit there and be like, do this, do this, have you cleaned up? It also means I'm checking every 5 minutes and washing some dishes or cleaning a litter box or doing the kinds of things that I can do with the kids awake. So it also frees
Mhm.
me up a bit. And as I
Yeah.
mentioned before, they have to do the cleanup before she gets the evening snack. So there's also an incentive there of like,
Mhm.
you're going to run out of snack time if you don't get this stuff cleaned up as well.
Yeah, we've tried we've done the ultimatum. We've done there's a cleanup song that they did in her last preschool class that we sometimes get to play on She Who Must Not Be Named. And so that and like we do try to make games out of it. You know, sometimes the problem is um some of us are just not good on following through.
Yeah.
When I say some of us, my wife and I are sometimes not the best at following through on the ultimatum, or like we allow them to earn stuff back, and then I feel like that even though there's like
Yeah.
a lesson there on, and that's like a normal part of life, it does take away the um, urgency and accountability on the initial takeaway. So we're still trying to figure that out, but
It's tangential.
ultimately, yeah.
It's tangential, but I had to do the same thing with my daughter. And like after cleanup, after snack time is brushing teeth, brushing hair, going potty, putting on pajamas.
Mm-hmm.
And like in my mind, this is a process that like if she's not fighting me, because she'll fight me on whether she has to brush teeth, and I'm like, no, that like it's gonna
Yeah.
happen. The fact of
Yeah.
the matter is this is gonna happen. So I'm gonna look at my watch because we're in here at 7:35. If by I think 7:50 I'm out of practice because she's been away, but if it's like by 7:50 you don't have your pajamas on, your teeth brushed, you've gone potty, done all
Mm.
these things, all of which she is now capable of doing by herself.
Right.
I'm like, then you're going to lose a book. She gets 2 stories each night or 2 chapters if it's a chapter book.
Mm.
You're going to lose one. If it gets to 7:55 and I show her my watch and it's a digital watch, so it has the numbers there. I'm like, if it gets to 7:55, you lose both. I'll sing you a song, I'll give you a hug and kiss, and
Mm.
that'll be it. And the first few times, it's like, okay, well, if you do a really good job putting on your pajamas, you can get the chapter back. And then she just started pushing that envelope. And so I had to go back to, okay,
Right.
you can't earn this back. You'll get another chance tomorrow. It's not forever because she freaked out and thought it was forever, that she was losing one book for the rest of her life. And I'm like, kid, I'm not reading you bedtime stories for the rest of your life. You're about to be my age.
Right.
But it is something that it's tough. Like it does pull on your heartstrings. But I think sticking to those ultimatums can have rewards for people.
Yeah. No. I mean, definitely. Like
I'm not trying to chastise you, by the way. I
No.
just
Oh no. No. Oh no. No.
like
No. No.
everybody
I
out
was
there, I think
somebody.
sometimes sticking to those realistic ultimatums and immediate consequences because it can't just be like you're not going to get ice cream on Saturday. Toddlers don't
Yeah.
understand that. They don't have that concept of time. But like you won't see these until tomorrow, or I'm throwing this in the trash, or you're not getting a second story tonight.
Mm-hmm.
That's more.
Yeah. So my usual takeaway in the bedtime festivities routine is we play chase is a game that we made up where we chase each other around the room
Sure.
in between teeth brushing and actually getting into bed. And I hate taking it away, not because she just like loves it, but because it also like last minute like tires her out,
Sure.
and it actually makes it easier
Physically
for
and
her to fall asleep. So it's like
yeah.
it's actually a punishment on me.
Yeah.
So there's always that consideration is, and it are we punishing them or are we punishing us?
Sure.
And yeah, so
And it's
I
been
feel
tough.
like
I think with us, like building these in, it has made it pretty reliable
mhm,
that I can be done and out of there by 8:10, 8:15. And
mhm,
yeah, I mean, like we have contingencies and things will follow through on for just about everything. And my wife and I have developed these plans of action, and it just, yeah, you have to figure out what you want to take away, because yes, if she's going to be hyper and full of energy that she wouldn't have had otherwise, you don't want to punish yourself. But
Right.
reading, like the kid only needs one book. She'd already negotiated up to two, like 2 years ago. Like, so I don't
Mm,
feel as bad about that, right? I don't
right.
feel as bad about throwing away again the knockoff Barbie that she got 2 years ago that she suddenly fell in love with and wants to leave on the floor for tomorrow.
Speaking of Barbie, that's coming out this week.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Are you excited for that movie?
I can't say that I am.
So
Not.
my wife is very excited. I'm sure I will end up excited as well. But I must say, every time I see a trailer for that movie, there is somebody else who's big and famous in that movie that I had no idea. Literally, everybody is in this movie. It's
That's pretty
nuts.
cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, it's probably one of those things where at some point I will catch it on streaming, but I'm not. We
Sure.
don't get a lot of opportunity with little man
Hmm.
needing us in his bed right now
Sure.
to sleep. I'm sure there will be a point, some point where we can call a grandmother over to sit and watch him, or he can sleep over at one of their
Hmm.
houses or something, and we'll get to go to the movies again. But that is
Yeah.
not this day.
Yeah. And
Uh,
also, honestly, my wife and I were talking about this yesterday. It's like when we get the opportunity to, you negotiate to get a babysitter, you have the amount of allotted time, like the kids are in bed when they're supposed to be, and you can go out. We really just want to like go to a dark room and not talk and like watch a movie. Like, and as much as I love going to the movies, it's like I'd rather use that very few and far between opportunity to like go to get a nice dinner or like see friends.
sure.
So
Yeah,
it's just hard,
and like
you know.
exist with your spouse. We missed an opportunity when we all went up to Cape Cod. There's a drive-in movie theater there,
Oh.
and it was showing. So the thing is, you pay like $20 a person to go to the
Mhm.
drive-in, and they do a double feature.
Mhm.
And so it was Indiana Jones, the new one, and then the new Guardians of the Galaxy, newish. I know that's
Mm.
been out a little while. But the downside was we were going the first week of July, so we're really close to the summer solstice, and the showtime is completely dependent upon sunset. So
Oh
if you go to this
yeah.
place in September, it's much different than going in early July, late June.
Yeah.
And so the first showtime wasn't like the first movie didn't start until like 8:35.
Yeah. No way, man.
And so the second movie was slated to schedule at like 11:15. The second movie, and you're just like, and it's 30 minutes away, which whatever. At that point, you're already investing like 5-6 hours sitting in the car. But I'm like, we can't like go to the drive-in and get
No,
home
no.
at 2 a.m. best case,
That is
and
a
then have to deal with the kids. Like that's
that
not
that
worth
isn't
it.
a yeah,
But
that's
that
an
would be a
event for the
movie
youths.
situation where we could actually like talk to each other and
Yeah.
not feel like we're interrupting everybody in a movie theater and being
Yeah,
some jerk.
no. Yeah, no, it definitely sounds perfect for a winter night.
Yeah, or late fall at least,
Yeah.
early fall.
Yeah.
But
Well, I feel like we've gone a little bit off the rails. We've run it back in. We've run around a bit, but any final thoughts on just maintaining your space, their space, our space,
so
or
one
my
thing
space?
I have,
R.I.P.
yeah, right. Tom, my best friend in like sixth grade, but
Yeah, top eights, man.
yeah, he was in my top eight for a while. But yeah, my biggest thing with stuff and my biggest tip to avoiding getting stuff is, well, to avoid having too much stuff is to stop getting it. Right. I kind of gave away the tip in the
Sure, sure.
intro there,
Yeah,
but
we don't ask for like toy presents anymore. We know the grandparents are gonna give them, but like we
right.
don't
And
we don't ask.
and my my thing is like we do big gifts, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we will do, I think, it was a couple Christmases ago, or maybe it was my daughter's birthday, where we had the grandparents chip in
Mm-hmm.
for like a $600 trampoline. And so it could be
Yeah.
for from everybody. And we have this trampoline in our backyard that we wanted to get our kids anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Or we got them like a playhouse out in the backyard. Or and my mom got them a sandbox. So some like big things that aren't just like cheap plastic things
Sure.
that are going to get broken in 2 months. But the other thing we try to steer them towards is experiences.
Mm-hmm.
Experiences, especially, and it's tougher for my dad, but especially for the grandparents that live close. Like, hey, get tickets to the water park or the zoo, or we mentioned Lion Country Safari, or a
Mm-hmm.
movie, or something like that, a museum. Get or one year my daughter and my mother-in-law went down to Fort Lauderdale and saw Frozen live, right? And that was
Nice.
like her Christmas present. But it wasn't until February. But she was hyped about it, right? And
Yeah.
so trying to get those kinds of things that are experiences, you can take
Mm-hmm.
pictures, you can create fond memories, you can have fantastic experiences that aren't getting them the newest hottest toy that
Sure.
markets the crap out of themselves on the Disney Channel
Mm-hmm.
or whatever your kids are watching. You know, if they're streaming,
Right.
obviously you get to
Mm-hmm.
take some of that off. But that is my biggest tip is try to, when possible, do that. And then on like birthday invites, people will still not follow this rule. We don't follow
Mm-hmm.
this rule
Sure.
always.
Sure.
Sometimes we do the rule where people put on the birthday invite, your presence is the best present or no gifts, please. Maybe if they're being
Mm-hmm.
more expensive. But like we have a mutual friend, you and I, who his son had his birthday party this summer and they put on
Yeah.
there no gifts please. I was like, yeah, well, we put that on our daughter's birthday invite and you still showed up with gifts. So we're coming on down to
Oh
with a
yeah.
present. But it was at a splash pad, and so we got him like a little water toy that he could use right then and there.
It
And
would be great. It would be great if like parents collectively in the world honored that rule because the
sure,
moment one person shows up with a gift, everybody else who didn't feels self conscious about it, even though
yeah.
you're the one that followed the direction. Um,
Yeah, because that's the thing is like when, especially when it's my daughter's classmates, right? And they're having a
mhm.
birthday party. And some parents don't put it on there, and that's fine. And some parents do. And it's still like one of those things where it's like, I don't want to show up empty handed because I know other people are going to do it. And I don't want to
Yeah,
seem like the cheap parents. But it's such a tough dynamic where it's
yeah,
like, I wish we could put like in bold, no, but we really mean it. We really
yeah.
mean like, don't. And so what we did for my daughter is we put that on there. And most people, we still got some gifts.
Mhm.
But we told our parents, hey, we'll do a family dinner. And it was either the night before, that night, night after, while my dad was in town. It's like, we're going to do gifts there at our house at a
Mhm.
family dinner with you guys because you're her grandparents and you're not going to just be like, I'm not going to get my granddaughter a gift.
Yeah,
We get that. But we
sure.
didn't want like people showing up and seeing a pile of gifts and feeling bad. And of course,
Mhm.
still people brought gifts and all that stuff. So it
Yeah,
was, yeah, that would be the thing is I still think it made some difference, and some difference is better than no
sure.
difference.
So I guess my parting words for our audience would be like maybe some of the stuff we suggested will help you. If you've got amazing ideas on how to keep your space your own, please share it with us. Like we've mentioned before, we have an email address. We have um, our DMs are open. All of that information will be posted in the show notes. So please send our way. But the one hard and fast rule we stand by: no noise gifts. Be better. Be best.
No noise
Just
gifts. I mean, like maybe like a drum,
enjoy
not
the
a I like
silence.
a drum set, but come on, nothing.
Yeah,
No,
yeah, no, just like
maybe
respect
a fire
that
truck with a
thine other's
siren.
sanity.
A fire
Yeah,
truck by itself is great. No siren needed. There's not an
exactly.
emergency here, folks.
Yeah, well said, Alex. So everybody, thank you so much for working on the Dad Pod with us. We'll see you next time.
See you guys. Thanks for working on the Dad Pod with us. Any resources that we mentioned during the show will be in the show notes. If you have questions, thoughts, or just want to talk with us, the best place is in the comments on YouTube. We're on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and Threads at Working on the Dad Pod, and on Twitter at Working on Dad Pod. Following and subscribing is always appreciated. Please rate and review us. That helps get the show to new people. And if you know a dad who would enjoy our show, sharing it with them is a huge help to them and us. Have a great week.